YouTube, how's it going? Frogs Angels is back with some more NFL content for the upcoming 2018 season. We've been doing all kinds of rankings, some duo rankings, different position groups. This one's actually a little different from the other ones. What I did was I took all the 3-4 teams. There's more 4-3 than 3-4. Since we did 4-3 D tackles, I'm going to do 3-4 D-line duos. I wanted to take the ends here, mainly the pass rush players, the players that produce in the pass rush game as well as run stopping. So it's mainly the ends. Some of these 3-4 teams run two ends. Some of them run one and a D tackle that somewhat lines in a D tackle spot but can rush the outside as well on a 3-4 team. So hopefully everyone understands here. We're not using the nose tackle in these duos. So what I'm going to do is remove them one by one. If you watched our free agency videos, it's similar to that. So let's get into it. Let's just do it. The first team I'm going to take off the board, see we got 13 teams up here, but there could only be 12 3-4 teams, and that's the Lions. I'm going to take the Lions off because they have the players to be a 4-3, I believe, but they got Patricia in there. He kind of wants to do a hybrid type thing, maybe show some 3-4 looks, show some 4-3 looks. So that's why I'm going to take him off first, and obviously the best player that can be considered is Ziggy Ansah, but my prediction is if they're in a 3-4, if they're showing a 3-4, he's going to step back as the outside linebacker because he's athletic enough and has the right size. But he can play that end spot in a 3-4. So I'm going to take them off mainly because Ziggy I don't think would be included in that debate, and we're not really sure what they're going to run. Zettel and Ledbetter may be the DNs. Maybe not the most appealing ones, but we're going to take them off mainly because we don't know what the Lions are going to run. They're going to show looks of both. They're going to show some kind of hybrid, but I do think they have players to fit a 4-3, so maybe they shouldn't even have been on this at all. But now let's get into the true 3-4 teams. The first one I'm going to remove here or the second one maybe, is going to be the Jets. I do like Leonard Williams a lot. I think he can get even better, but the opposite of him, they don't really have much. Henry Anderson, maybe a little bit of underrated player they get from Indianapolis. Can produce, but nothing solid there. They also have Xavier Cooper. They drafted Nathan Shepard, I think, to be that guy in the near future. Maybe not right away, but he's got freak athleticism, very strong too. So I think he may be that guy, but this is kind of a one-man show here. I mean, they do have other guys. Henry Anderson can play, but it's mainly just the first ones I'm going to move off the board are mainly just the one guy makes up the duo. I'm trying to find a true duo here, so we will see who ends up being the winner. Next off the board, I'm going to take off the Redskins, even though I like where they could be because Jonathan Allen, I was very high on a year ago, unfortunate injury, but was looking very good before the injury. So I expect him to be even better and to get better. Stacy McGee is opposite of him. I think he needs to pick it up a little bit. Not a terrible player at all, but really that's all they have in there. Not much depth. And the end spots, they did draft well in the nose tackle spot with Daron Payne, who can probably shift to the end spot. So look out for that in the future. Maybe a little bit of a wild card is if it's Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne, the two Bama guys outside, and then Tim Settle on the inside. I think they're capable of it. It would mainly be Jonathan Allen would be a DN for sure. The nose tackle would be Tim Settle, and then the D tackle would be their first round draft pick, Daron Payne. A little bit of a reach, but it could happen. A lot of these teams run, like I said, run one D end, one nose, and one D tackle. So basically, this is a duo group of D ends for 3-4 teams / DN / D tackle. A little confusing, but I'm not a big fan of the 3-4, but if you have the players to run it, then you run it. I understand that if you're a coach that gets thrown in there, but I'm all for the 4-3. That's just my take, but some of these teams do a good job. So we took the Skins off. Next up is going to be the Bears. I love Akeem Hicks. Kind of a guy, like I'm saying, can play the D tackle spot and could play the DN spot. Very, very impressive in the run game, but also brings something to the pass game. So he's good enough to keep him up here. But opposite of him is going to be Jonathan Bullard, who we haven't seen much of really at all. A little bit of here and there from Florida a few years ago. So he has upside. I expect him to take a big step up because I think he's going to start. So we will see. Maybe at the end of the year this should be higher on the list. But Akeem Hicks definitely could keep him into discussion. He's very good player. And at nose, I know they have Goldman, who's pretty solid, but we're talking the two outside guys. So does Bullard get the job? It's kind of a question mark right now, but we will see. Does he take a step up? We will see. But looking for the true duo. Next up, I'm taking off the... It's close here between the next two. I'm taking off the Texans. They do have J.J. Watt. Now, J.J. Watt alone could boost him higher in this, but hasn't been healthy. But if he is healthy, we expect him to be maybe the best defense player in football. But who is their other guy? Joel Heath kind of came out of nowhere. Covington, before the injury, played pretty solid. But I'm looking at Carlos Watkins. I was very high on him in the draft from Clemson a year ago. He's kind of a hybrid D-tackle, can play the D-end spot. J.J. Watt's going to be the D-end, obviously. But Watkins I like at D-tackle and can get to the quarterback as a D-tackle on the outside there in a 3-4. So I would look out for him to step up. Maybe not right away this year, but maybe as the year goes on and going into next year, I think he may be their guy. He was one of my sleepers a year ago in the draft. I thought I was higher on him than most. So it's a guy to look out for, but we need to see more opposite of J.J. Watt. We honestly need to see J.J. Watt play as well. Next off the board is going to be the Ravens. The Ravens got Brandon Williams. He plays the D-tackle spot, but is on the end. He's not the nose tackle. And then you got Urban is projected to be the starter out there. I'm not a big fan there. I like Willie Henry from Michigan a few years ago a lot. I think for the snaps he's gotten, I think he plays well. So I expect him to be opposite of Brandon Williams as the true end over there. And I think if he gets the action, if he gets the opportunity, I think he could be a big riser. So Willie Henry's a guy to look out for, but since it's kind of a question mark, and we know we only have one true guy, Brandon Williams, out there, and he's more of the D tackle, that's why the Ravens aren't higher. So now we're on to the next team. I think we're starting to separate ourselves here. We're starting to separate these teams here to better duos, obviously, more true duos. But next off the list is going to be the Giants. The next two are very close, the Giants and the next team. But I took the Giants off. You got Dalvin Tomlinson there, who's more of a D tackle, and then you got Kareem Martin, who's the true D end. So pretty solid guys there, nothing crazy, but you could get something very impressive from Dalvin Tomlinson going forward because he had an excellent rookie year, and they got snacks in the middle there. So that's an impressive D line. It could get better on the ends there, but Tomlinson we expect to take the jump up, but again he's more of that D tackle role. So like I said, the next team was very close, but they get what do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're at number 6 on the list, and that's going to be the Chiefs. It's pretty solid. Chris Jones, very impressive. Very impressive. He's more of the D end, so I like his pass rush productivity lately, and he's really just all over the place. Heck of a football player, going to be even better, which is scary. Then Allen Bailey is opposite of him, but he can play. Solid player, but Breeland Speaks they trade up for in the draft. I would look out for him. I love Breeland Speaks in this defense, opposite of Chris Jones. Maybe right away he will be the sub in the Chris Jones position, but near future I think it's Chris Jones and Breeland Speaks. That could be pretty impressive for a 3-4, but I expect Chris Jones and Allen Bailey to be the two. Pretty solid duo, but it's mainly because Chris Jones there. On to the top 5. At number 5, which could end up being higher, it's a big if, is the Green Bay Packers. I mean, on paper, it's looking pretty good. You got Mike Daniels, excellent defensive tackle, but doesn't play nose tackle. He plays on the end. Kenny Clark plays nose tackle. And the other one's Muhammad Wilkerson. Good pickup, but the big what if is if he's on the field. Hasn't been really on the field that much the last 2 years, mainly last year. He needed a better team. He needed a new place. I think he got a better team, and he got a new place. So I expect him to be on the field. If he is, this could be much higher, even though the teams ahead of them are pretty darn good. You do have Dean Lowry, who kind of came out of nowhere last year, was impressive. And I'm kind of looking for Montravius Adams. I was pretty high on him from Auburn a year ago. He didn't play much this year. Is he going to play the nose tackle, or is he going to play the D end or D tackle position? I think the D tackle position, obviously rotation guy this year. Maybe if Wilkerson can't go, maybe we see more of him. We will see. We will see. So they got some depth there. They do have some pretty solid depth in Green Bay. Let's just hope Muhammad Wilkerson can stay on the field, or get on the field, really. He's been healthy. It's just, I don't know if he was really a fit for the Jets. I mean, he didn't view himself mentally as a fit, is what I took away from that. So on to the top 4 teams. Number 4, pretty solid duo here. is going to be the Tennessee Titans. They're number 4, but I'm going to take them off the board. Jarrell Casey, been playing at a high level, Pro Bowl level, quite a while here. He's more of a deep tackle guy, but does get after the passer, which is impressive. So I like Jarrell Casey a lot, and everybody likes him a lot. Daquan Jones is the DN, a very underrated guy. He gets after the quarterback, pretty solid in the run game too. So that's a pretty good duo. They don't have really much depth at the outside on the D-line position. But those two guys is, I would say, a true duo. Obviously, Casey's the better one, but it's pretty good duo. There's nobody lacking there. Number 3 on the list. We're getting down to the top 3. And number 3 is going to be the Denver Broncos. I would take them off the board, but being number 3 is pretty good in this category. Kind of a team at the end of the year. Could honestly be number 1. Why? They have Derek Wolf's been playing at a high level. Maybe not as good last year as the other years, but I'm confident he can play at a high level. They draft Bradley Chubb, who might be their best D lineman, possibly. It's kind of, we've got to wait and see if he can play at the level we expect him to play at. And then Shelby Harris, actually very underrated, played at a pretty solid level last year. So they got good depth there. You expect it to be Wolf and Chubb. They didn't really need Chubb, honestly, but too good to pass, obviously. 100% agree with it. He could be a dominant player. His run-stopping ability is A+, and he can get after the quarterback, too. So this is perfect, I think, even though it wasn't a huge need. But that's a darn good duo. It's just Chubb hasn't really taken a snap yet, so that's why he's at number 3. So the top 2, I think, were pretty obvious. I think people could have predicted these top 2. Again, I think the Broncos could get there. I think the Packers could be there, but a big what if, or hopefully Wilkerson plays. But these are the 2. So I'm just going to reveal number 1 here. Again, we're going to go in. Well, let's break down these 2 teams first. Let's break them down. The Steelers got 2 guys that you know who they are right away. Not much depth, but it's Cam Hayward and Stephon Tuitt. Pretty solid 2 guys there. Good duo. And the Rams have maybe the best defensive player in football in Aaron Donald, who plays more of that D tackle spot, but can kind of slide over a little bit and get to the quarterback, either at a D tackle spot or the DN spot. So he was always a true 4-3 D tackle. The Rams switched their defense to Wade Phillips. He plays a D tackle / DN spot. Very impressive is what I'm trying to say. Does multiple things. And then Brockers over there on the end. Pretty solid player. You expect Sue to play nose tackle. Hasn't really played it before. Does he play the D tackle spot, the other DN spot? And then Darnold is in the other DN. It's kind of up in the air. You expect it to be Donald and Brockers outside. So in this video, we're mainly talking about Donald and Brockers. They do have Easley and they do have Westbrooks as well. So they're pretty solid depth. But with, obviously, we know who the number 1 player is here. But as far as duo, I gave number 1 to the Pittsburgh Steelers because this is a true duo. I think Cameron Hayward is the better one, but I'm very high on Stephon Tuitt if he's on the field. Some minor injuries here and there, but I don't think it's that out there if you say that maybe after this year or during this year, Tuitt is the better one. I don't think it's that out there. You expect Cameron Hayward to be the better one. He's maybe one of the better 3-4 D linemen in football. So maybe somebody would say, calm down, Hayward's the better one. I agree he's the better one, but Tuitt I think can play at a very, very high level. I'm a big Stephon Tuitt fan. So I think this is more of a true duo here. Donald, very good. Brocker's pretty solid, but I think Hayward and Tuitt aren't that far off from Donald. Donald's for sure better, but Hayward's right there behind him if we're talking 3-4 D linemen. So I like the true duo here. Hopefully, Tuitt was out of games the last couple of years because of injuries here and there, but he could play at a very high level. He can get after the quarterback. He could stop the run, no problem. So, again, I keep saying it, but it's a true duo. So that's what I liked about the Steelers there. I actually had the Rams at 1. Right when I was making the list, I automatically put the Rams at 1 without doing my research that I do before making all those duos just to refresh my mind. But I ended up switching it because I just love that either one of these guys can take over and be the number 1 guy on any Sunday. So Steelers make number 1 on the list. But that'll do it for the 3-4 D-line duos. Wanted to give 3-4 guys some love. We did 4-3 D tackles, but may have to do the 4-3 DNs too. Maybe we'll get to 3-4 outside linebackers. You could compare the outside linebackers from the 3-4 to the 4-3 DNs. A little different, obviously, because they're different schemes, but you can compare them, so we can do separate videos for those. We'll eventually get on to, we got plenty of stuff planned. We'll get on to, I'm going to do a video, every team's best player, in my opinion. maybe it'll be every team's best offense player, every team's best defense player. We'll eventually get to top 10s each position, top 10 quarterback, running back, down the line. And then as we get closer to the season, we're going to break down each team, my predictions for the season, going game by game predictions. What do I think the teams need help at? Where they're going to be, where their weaknesses are going to be, where their strengths going to be. And then we'll predict division by division, see who makes the playoffs, in my opinion, see who wins the Super Bowl. So we got plenty of stuff to come. Thanks to you guys. We've been able to keep doing this. Great support. Our goal is 10K subscribers here. A long way to go, but we know we can make it there with your help. So thanks for watching. That'll do it for this one. Goodbye.